Hey, everybody. I'm Deborah Cayer. I'm one of the ministers at ERUUF, Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Durham, North Carolina. I'm here today with Amy Rawls, a longtime lay leader in the congregation. And for a long time, Amy and I have been talking about how to have intentional, meaningful holidays. How do we have the things in them that are really important to us and to our families, and how to, making those choices. So we thought that that might be something that you might be interested in too. So we're here today to just to have a simple conversation and let you peek in on that. So Amy, is this good to go? Are we ready to
Yeah,
talk?
we're good. Thank you.
Thanks for doing this. This was Amy's idea, by the way. Thanks, Amy. So, Amy, a few years ago, you really started to explore ways to create a more intentional winter holiday with your family. What sparked your interest in that?
Yeah, that is true. And actually, what sparked my interest in it in, I think, a tangible way was that I attended a workshop held at ERUUF based on a book that I think still has a lot of relevance for me today called Unplugging the Christmas Machine. And it really walks you through a great process of reflection, of inventory making, and really just helping guide you through a process where you can really look at your traditions and prioritize them or dump them, which I think is always a liberating thing. And I think what I really realized is that was such a helpful tool for me, because what it illuminated for me was I was struggling with a lot of things that I did purely out of a sense of tradition or obligation, and that I was able to identify the things that mattered most. And so what I was looking for was, how could I find the permission and the tools so I could start making traditions with my own nuclear family together that were meaningful for us.
So, what kind of things did you want to change, and how'd you start? How'd you go about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of this is in retrospection, so there is that. But I think the things I knew going into that process was that the whole season seemed more materialistic to me than I wanted. And to my family, the focus was really on, gifts and Santa. And of course, I had young children then, so that made sense. But also, I thought there was an opportunity to really analyze what we were doing and think about the things that were truly important. And so things like, how could we make it less materialistic and remove some of the focus on gifts, although I know that still is an important part. How to align our spiritual identity with this holiday season, because as a foursome, we are not Christian, and all of the things we were doing were really founded or grounded in the Christian traditions. And ultimately, I think one thing that was really important for me was just, how could we kind of diffuse the stress of the whole season and spend meaningful time together instead of run.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So, what's worked? What have you found that's worked for you and your family now that you've been doing this? What's gone well?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that worked was we were all really open to new ideas or new ways of doing things, or stopping things that we had, like I said, done out of a sense of someone else's family traditions. We saw ourselves as our own family. And so I think that was kind of the springboard for what worked. We really were able to decide what was important. So I think the other thing that really worked was having conversations about this. So once you go through the inventory process, you're like, these are all the things I do, or these are all the ways that I'm investing my time or my treasure. I think you like it, but do you? And I was surprised at how much of the things I did, even for my small kids, that they're like, nah, I don't really, like, it's nice, but it's like, okay, if it's just nice, it's coming off the list, right? So I think that went really well. And I think one of the more recent changes, now that my children are a little older, and again, just being open to change, even if you've made a tradition in your own family unit, it may work for some phases of your family life together, but it could change. And so a few years ago, once we were through the Santa years, we made the choice to celebrate the season of Advent and focus more on the solstice and light. And so we've changed everything from how we exchange gifts to become more experience-based, to how we decorate to be more light and stars and less razzle dazzle, I guess, and just keeping it focused there. And that has been wonderful.
Hmm. Anything that you've learned that, that you've adjusted as you've gone through this?
Yeah, I've learned how important it has been for our family to also incorporate giving and generosity as a main focus. So even new this year, we were giving throughout the Advent season, but as part of our weekly Sunday Advent ritual, we talk about a specific way we intend to be generous or charitable that coming week. And so we've just kind of further codified that into the ritual, I guess, and making it really a focus. And I think, it is a season of generosity, and having more of a real spotlight on that has been something that I've learned is really, really important for us.
Cool. How have your kids responded? What's their take on this?
It's great. They love it. I think, again, we made this transition from experience-based giving to experience-based giving and spreading the season out a little bit. So, I was worried that Christmas morning would be kind of a disappointment based on that shift, but it really hasn't. And so I'll give you an example. Just this week, our experience-based gift was to take them to the Tanglewood Festival of Lights on Tuesday night. And so we would have never done that before. It would have been, something wrapped up under the tree instead. And so I think they enjoy a few things about it. It's longer, so that's fun. We have our rituals that they are really starting to love, and we spend time together. That was 7 hours in the car.
Oh, that's a commitment. Wow.
Yes, yes.
But they knew what they were doing, and they knew why.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. That is
And
so
they're now
awesome.
coming up with ways to be charitable in their own way. So this year, they decided to give to the scholarship fund at their soccer organization, which I never in a million years would have thought of as an Advent giving activity. So
cool. Very cool. I love it. Any tips for people who might be thinking about doing something similar?
I think the biggest tip I have is just to really, really believe that this does not have to be a stressful time of year. And that by really being intentional and taking time and reflection, and then finding ways to, over time, work towards a holiday season that you're doing the things that are meaningful, and that you find a way to gracefully exit the things that are not so meaningful. It's really a very joyful time, and a time for reflection, and a time for escaping the everyday, if you can figure out how to do it. So I think be comfortable saying no, be comfortable with some change, and just, know that it doesn't have to be so stressful.
I think one of the things I've been thinking about this year during the pandemic, and also with the, just all the racial injustice that we've seen this year, and our ways of thinking about that. One of the things when my family did this, when my kids were little, it changed our relationship to darkness and sort of images of darkness and connotations around darkness. It shifted darkness from being all negative into being a time of gestation and creativity and beauty and wonder. And so those positive images of darkness as rich with possibility, I think, in a very subtle way, this is 4 layers down, but I think that those are some of the ways that it was very countercultural, and I can't tell you the difference in meaning making that it made in my life in the holiday season, but also in general. It extended then into spring and into gardening and into, the life cycle of a seed. And so all of those things became very, very meaningful to me personally and spiritually. And they've actually served me well through whole, big chunks of my life, being able to have not only intentional holidays, but just this a real different relationship with darkness.
I agree, and I've experienced something similar, of course not the same, but when we kind of made that shift from celebrating what I would say Christmas to the season of Advent or the season of solstice. And I totally agree that there's something extremely magical about that frame. And I would also say that I think during dark times, this really can be a time of almost renewal or reflection and expecting, you know, a different future.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Being open to that possibility of waiting for it, but active waiting, active hope.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The book that all of this was based on is called Unplugging the Christmas Machine. We've recast it when we've done it at ERUUF as Unplugging the Holiday Machine, because we celebrate so many more things than just Christmas. If you check it out, it's a wonderful resource. You can find it online. I think they have a website, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
And lots of supporting materials. And I would also point out that when we adventured into Advent as the focus, the UUA has some wonderful resources and readings to bring to the, you know, table, and candle lightings and chalice lightings that are wonderful. And we've all leaned into those quite a bit. So I'd say if you're interested in that, there are a lot of things there as well.
Awesome. The one caution I would add, it's in the materials very clearly, but no sudden changes. Don't get inspired yourself and then, just, run with it. Really have those conversations with people in your life so that you're bringing them along and making them part of the decision making, or if you're informing extended family and friends about a big change. The caution is conversation. No surprises around all this.
Yeah, as Deb mentioned, this has been a process for our family that's unfolded over many years. I don't even know how many now, but I would guess at least 7 to 8. And so, each year looks a little bit different than the one before it, and not going from, we did it this way one year and the next year we're totally different on every level. I think that's a really good tip as well.
Well, I think this has been a great peek into how we've learned something about holidays and how we do holidays. Is there anything that you'd like to say in wrapping up?
No, I would just say, again, there are ways to make it less stressful and more joyful if that is your intention or your hope, and that there's a lot of tools out there to help you get there.
Awesome. I think this year especially, we're looking for intentional, joyful, simple, and sustainable, in the sense of sustaining our inner lives and nourishing our inner lives so that we can go the distance that we've got to go between now and whenever we talk about reopening again our regular lives. Amy, thank you so much. It's always a joy to talk with you, but I love this topic in particular. So thanks for the invitation.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Happy holidays.